Hello! Welcome to The Modern Lady, where you'll learn how to elevate your life with elegance. I'm Deborah. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe so that you can get an update when I've got a new video to share. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for your continued love and support for this channel. I appreciate and adore you all. Today's video is about how to graciously end conversations. Whether you are at a networking event or you're just enjoying coffee or lunch, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult and tricky to end and close out a conversation when you're ready to go your separate ways. So I'm going to share with you a couple of ways to do that and to do it with grace. At the point that you're ready to end a conversation, the best question I have come across that really starts to wind things down is to ask someone what they're doing later. Maybe later on that day, that week, what their plans are, not to be nosy, but just to steer the conversation to future pace. So if you are maybe having coffee with someone and let's say it's 11 a.m., you can ask the person, so what are you up to later this afternoon? And typically it's just going to be a lighthearted response for someone to share with you what their plans are, whether or not they even have plans. But the point is to transition the conversation from whatever the current topic was to the future. And so that's my favorite question. I kind of consider it like a hook, is to ask someone, well, what are you doing later on today? Or what are you doing later this weekend? What are you doing later? That really helps to shift the focus in the conversation and redirect their attention to the future. Now, typically after I ask someone what they're doing in the later time, I would really acknowledge the time that we had to connect. I would say something similar to, it was a pleasure to see you again, or it was lovely chatting, it was lovely connecting with you. But you really want to make sure someone feel that sense of appreciation that you have so that they understand that you value them, their time, and you're just acknowledging the enjoyable encounter and connection you had with them as they shared their presence with you. So acknowledging them, sharing that it was lovely to see them again, that you had a great time, is a really beautiful way to graciously end a conversation after asking someone what they're doing later on that day or that week. Now, if it's appropriate, usually I would mention to someone that I'd love to see them again. So if it's a colleague, or let's say it's a connection I was meeting for coffee and it was our first or second time meeting, I would say, I'd love to see you again, or I look forward to, having another coffee, or I look forward to doing lunch. Or maybe during the conversation you mentioned something that you want to do to make plans for a future time to spend time together. And so if that's the case, you can mention that. You can even schedule it at that time if you like to, just to get it on the calendar and make sure that you both are on the same page for when you will make those future plans. But if it's appropriate, you can always mention that you look forward to seeing that person again in the future. The close to ending any conversation with grace is to always smile. Now, if it's a personal situation, you may end up exchanging a hug or an embrace, sometimes based on how close you are to that person or that connection. If it's a very close friend, you may kiss on the cheek and hug, or if it's, a colleague, you may just smile and hug. It really depends based on your level of the relationship with that person, but you always will smile. Now, if it's a professional relationship, you'll more than likely shake hands at the close of the conversation. And if you have just recently met, you'll exchange business cards. So that's another great question or another hook to ask someone if they have a business card, if it's your first encounter meeting them when you're trying to end the conversation and gracefully close it out. So asking someone if they have a business card really gives you the opportunity to exchange contact information, and it's just a wonderful way to professionally end a conversation, especially when it's the first time that or second time that you've met someone, if it's a new acquaintance or a new connection or colleague. Ending conversations can be really uncomfortable, especially when you can tell the other person does not want to go. They could keep talking for hours, and maybe you're kind of stuck in and trying to keep that person calm and not get off on the wrong foot with them or feel inappropriate or rude. But there are certainly different ways that you can graciously end a conversation, and I hope that the advice I shared in this video is helpful for you to do that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share some YouTube love. I would so appreciate that. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you again in another video here on my channel. Bye for now.